Jody. And what is this? What it is this that I call?
The I'm sorry,
What did I call?
the National Domestic Violence Hotline,
Oh,
and our scope here is spousal and partner abuse.
okay. You excluded the stalking. It has online that you give information for that too. A lot of places I notice exclude stalking.
Or what? Who's stalking you?
Are you excluding it, even though your website that says that you offer assistance with that too?
We can give you some information if it's your spouse or partner stalking you. I can help you set a safety plan.
Okay. Okay, that's good. I'm just trying to establish a pattern. A lot of places exclude that for some reason. I find it
Now, are
suspicious.
you? Do you know who is stalking you, ma'am?
Well, it's someone that I don't really know what's happening, but I did have this online relationship, and he's been controlling a lot of government officials, and I've had false arrests, and he says that he's about to escalate abuse. And typically, when he gives me those warnings, he follows through with it.
And
So
he contacts you through online.
I've seen him a couple times in person, but no, he has people in my environment terrorize me. They play petty mind games. I've been locked out. They allow him to abuse the obscene amount of power. He's powerful. For example, one day I tried to enjoy the day and it got warmer outside. So I went to go outside on my balcony, and that was my first time. And then when I turned around, I did my devotionals, enjoyed a cup of coffee, had a great morning, and then I went back in and was locked outside on my balcony. And then things have come up missing in multiple different locations.
You
And then
were you? So how did you get back in your apartment?
luckily I had my phone. I'm very blessed that I did because I was on the second floor and I was able to call for help. They had me outside 2 hours playing games,
Oh my.
and I was sweating because it had got
Now,
hotter.
you know these people because have you made a police report? Because one way to document it is through the police department, but when you call them, you do need names.
The police department isn't
Do you
helping
have
me. They're in cahoots with it and enlist anyone they can to be in cahoots with it.
They're doing what?
They're in cahoots with it. They're not helping me. They're enlisted anyone they can. They've never been held accountable for it. I've had identity theft.
More than one person?
Oh yes, it's several. I don't know why they would want to do this to me, even if it is for profit. It's just so many people that are conspiring with my abuse. So I don't really think that it would be beneficial to repeatedly contact the police for them just to repeatedly keep getting got bought off and paid. No one's holding them accountable. It's been going on like 10
But
years.
my understanding is this person that you had an online.
Well, I've met him a couple times in person, but it has started out online.
But you do you have an address for this person?
I do.
And you might want to go down to the courthouse, and we're not legal advocates here, and we're not counselors, but that's one thing you can do is go down to your courthouse and you have an address and get a restraining order or protection order.
The police department, the law enforcement keeps coming to remove me, sometimes pushing and shoving, giving me criminal trespasses. That's not an option. I think the best option for me is to probably find a strategy.
Slow down.
I just don't. If I'm trying to tell you the best option, this is why I need to leave because my calls are like this. I'm trying to express to you on the line the best option for me, and you are excluding me from involvement in making a plan. But go ahead, since you don't want me to be involved in it.
Tell me what you would like to do.
No, go ahead. You wanted me. You said slow down. Go ahead. Let me see. Get your ideas.
It's just that you were a little bit fast, and you were telling me that the police are abusive to you too. Is that what I heard?
That is correct.
Yes, and so have you reported it to the higher ups?
I have.
Police department?
Yes.
You have, okay. So when you say you're not safe staying there, we do have numbers to shelters all over Texas.
I have a local shelters. They won't let me stay in them. They're controlled. So I wanted to know if there was a strategy on which most places pretend like you can't flee abuse period that the government's enlisted in, but there are police officers that have been abusers, and then there's protocols that are supposed to be followed to govern government officials. But all my resources around me exclude any kind of accountability for the police department. It's prearranged before I even make the call.
I agree with you. Sometimes we get a lot of calls like this. You're not the first one. And again, what we do have are resources that can help you with just staying in a space. So you said a shelter is not an option for you. That's what I'm hearing.
Right. I was trying to find options
And
that can
getting
combat the
getting
police
the
department,
protection.
and then them hacking my phone, and then everyone blind and saying that there's safe phones, but they don't want me to have it because a
And
key component of my abuse is being able to hack my device and have me speak with counterfeits, knowing nobody would ever believe it. Because if anyone with
I
integrity got a wind of what the government was doing, it would be countless felonies. So they're not stupid. So I think that a major part would be one, finding a location where I can get a safe phone, because all locations I've ever been to have lied about it. One was so condescending they gave me a phone and they told me it was a safe phone, and it was a mind game. The phone, it was impossible to activate the phone. I tried to activate the phone 3 hours. It was a phone for a provider that had went out of, I forgot, Q Wireless or something like that. And then I realized that they had played a mind game with me, this shelter, and gave me a phone. I think it was one Safe Haven, and they gave me a phone that was impossible for me to use. Wasted my time for 3 hours. And this is a domestic violence organization. Then I came with a follow up, and then she had said that she was going to call security because I wanted to get services. She had already started the application process, but it was a mind game, and it had me go through all this paperwork to get me nowhere. But places do this all the time. They'll transfer me around for no reason, hang up, give me disconnected numbers. So I have a YouTube channel, and I have to start recording the numbers because it repeatedly kept happening, and I wanted people to hear that people were playing mind games and giving me disconnected numbers or to wrong numbers. Like they give me, and I'm fleeing for my life, and they'll give me a number to a pizza place, and then have me
right,
think
and
it's
some
something else.
agencies will probably be giving you numbers just like we do because that's what we do on this hotline. We don't do direct services, but our scope here is to give you the resources that are out there if you're in a relationship with a spouse or partner. It seems like you have been documenting everything that this person and persons have been doing, and you're saying that the police are not helpful, and you're saying that the programs are not helpful too. Have you thought about getting, and I know this is going to be hard, but getting legal advice to see what your next step would be, talking to a lawyer?
All the attorneys never called me back. Never called me back in 10 years. And if they did, they were playing games and covering for crimes. It's impossible for me to get legal representation, even in jail on false charges. It can't be done. So what I wanted to communicate with you is if I could, I would like to get into an environment that is not in this country, or maybe go to a fresh environment to where I won't repeatedly be railroaded. I just don't see it, since it's been going on an extended amount of time. I've lost hope that people will get accountability.
Going out of the country is not a possibility. There's no programs that offer that kind of transportation or resources, but we can give you shelters anywhere in the United States, but you have to find your own transportation there.
I've had places lie to me all the time. They didn't want me to know about freedoms to family.
Pardon?
I've had people repeatedly lie and sabotage assistance in the multiple different locations, didn't want me to know about freedoms to family. And then someone accidentally let it slip. All domestic violence organizations tried to hide and didn't want me to know about freedoms to family. And then at the last location, someone staying there let it slip that if freedoms to family does commute people, but all locations conspire with my abuse that I've ever been to, everyone that I call. So freedoms to family will indeed take you to a safety location. But everywhere that I've called on my phone, and every domestic violence organization staff has hid that from me. And if people are hiding critical things from me, that's exactly why I don't want to be in this country. They're repeatedly not held accountable, and they have a free reign of terror to defraud me out of funds, and I just don't think I deserve it, and I'm just not repeatedly being heard.
What country do you think of going to?
Well, this is the National Domestic Violence Hotline, so I just wanted to know why, it's just fruitless for me to call year after year with everywhere I'm calling and then having to endure this. I guess the key point is just exposing that it repeatedly keeps happening. But I don't know what
Okay,
to do
go to
because I
another.
can't properly use my device, and then everywhere I'm at is covering for abuse and corruption. And then the withholding information like they did Freedoms to Family. If someone wouldn't have told me about that in my environment, then they wouldn't have been trapped to give me more information on it.
Going to another country is not easy because just coming to this country, people need work permits, and to get a work permit in another country or any kind of funding, that it's not going to be possible as long as you're not a citizen of that country. It's not. You might want to try and see what country you would not need a work permit to work, because, like I said, we don't have the numbers to shelters in any other country except for the United States and Canada. Canada's another country, but I think you need a passport to go over there. If your passport is ready, I can give you shelters to tell me where in Canada you might want to go.
I just wanted advocacy and a avenue to make up a safety plan, and someone with expertise on trying to on an avenue that I can flee domestic abuse that the government's enlisted in. I have a prank caller calling me right now on this device. I'm bombarded with prank calls.
Victoria, Texas, right?
And that's a close place to me.
I can give you the mid.
I went to Mid Coast. That's not an option.
Okay.
So I just want clarity. So fleeing a domestic abuse crisis that has involved the government, you want me to go to a domestic violence shelter?
Well, no, that's the only number that we have is just for Victoria. When you're being abused by the
I did
government.
say that I'm in a surrounding area, that I had just moved. I'm in the surrounding area.
I can put a higher radius to become.
Yeah, that's what I'm keep communicating with you.
So the other closest program is in Port Lavaca, called the Harbor Children Alliance and Victim Services. It's not a safe house, but they provide crisis center.
Is there a book that I can read on how to flee abuse from powerful people? Because everywhere that I'm calling, and I have issues with search results, I think that I just probably have to go to a library. I think that it's just not an option for me to call repeatedly over and over and waste countless hours, probably by now hundreds of hours, just speaking with scammers. I'm just not going anywhere. So I think I'm asking you if there's a book that I can read, perhaps maybe on how to flee a powerful man, because everywhere I'm at withholds information and leaves me.
Are you talking about your ex-spouse or partner or government?
Yes, he's running the government. So can you recommend a book or a place that can give me?
On our website, on the hotline.org, there you can read to see, and there are some programs that might be able to, some books that might help you read. But
okay, let me hold on one moment. Let me look at the hotline.org. Are you unwilling to hold, ma'am? Are you unwilling to hold?
Pardon?
Are you unwilling to hold?
I'm holding.
You're not. You're talking, and I asked you if you could hold a second.
Oh, I see. I'm going to hold and not talk.
Okay. You said hotline.org?
The hotline.org, yes, ma'am.
It says the site can't be reached.
Are you on your phone?
Are you sure that's the proper website?
It's thehotline.org.
It's what?
The THEHOT.
Are you leaving some more out, ma'am? First, I thought you said hotline, and then you .org, and then you're saying that you said thehotline.org. Are you leaving something else out?
No, ma'am. Or you can put National Domestic Violence Hotline.org.
Yes, because it has the hotline.org careers, the hotline.org safety plans, the hotline.org domestic violence.
That's it.
You can
click on any of those.
I can click on any of those to get information on what to read?
On the safety plan. But you need a safety plan on how to leave the country safely, or how to leave your abuser safely, or abuser safely. That's what they do. It's there.
Yeah, I just have
But
to
I can't.
read and try to find out the research on my own. Some women can have a support system and resources. It just hasn't been available for 10 years. And I'm really losing hope that people will get accountability. So it's just, I
The
just
thing is,
realized that
right
I need to
now,
do something else. On a crisis line, I can't speak them everywhere I'm at. The same thing over and over. And I just really don't think I deserve it. And since people aren't in the same, don't have the same thought process or the same feeling about my experience, for my safety, I just need to exit the situation the best that I can.
you know
And
what?
I see
You're
that
not.
doing this calling hours on end, hundreds, if not already a thousands in a decade, and just to get the same
Don't
thing,
deserve to be
taunting, there's
treated.
people talking, hanging up, giving me disconnected numbers, pizza places, fire departments, all kind of things in malice. It's just a detriment to mental clarity, and I'm just really not getting a lot resolved. So I
And the
guess I
thing
just
that
need to
let me
read
get,
and
give
just
me
do
a
the
minute.
research on my own because I'm really not getting anywhere.
Can you give me one moment, please? First of all, you don't deserve to be treated this way. Right now, with what's going on with the government, they're taking a lot of funding for a lot of programs that used to be there with to help people.
How's that relevant to? I mean, because I have to endure this call to call. People spend an excessive amount of time telling me what can't be done, and we never can work on what can be done. And it's just, it's upsetting, and it really is just a waste of time. So I
My
just don't want to
suggestion,
focus on everything that can't be done because it's happened for hundreds of calls, if not thousands. So the
my
whole call is
suggestion,
monopolized with hours on end of what we can't do, and as a strategy to never tell me what they can do. So I see that people aren't being held accountable for racked up felonies. So I just wanted to go into an environment where there's a possibility that I can be treated like a human being because they're just not willing to do it here, and no one's holding them accountable.
and again, I am so sorry you're going through all this. I wish I had the answers for you.
This is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You're trying to have answers. That's the problem.
We try. We do our best, ma'am. That's all I can say.
So obviously, call to call, hundreds of calls, thousands of videos, and still nothing has been repeatedly done.
The police are the only ones that take.
I just thought this was the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and you just gave me a number to a crooked place. I've noticed that they've done that for years. Demanded that I have a number for the family place, and they put me out when the car sped up like it was going to hit me, and let the police come on property, and then put me out, and then cover for their computer being hacked. And so this weird lady that did petty things that aren't realistic, so I can't report, started arguments. And then they had the light set weird that when I was in the bathroom, the light would go off and showering. And I said, it's a safety risk because I can't shower in the dark. It's pitch black in here. And then they finally tried to correct it. So each time I was showering, I had to shower in pitch black. It was like a timer set for a time that it was impossible for you to shower with, like 5 minutes.
And where was that, ma'am?
That was at the family place at a safe location.
In Dallas?
Yes.
That's in Dallas.
Right, and they put me out when a car sped up like it was going to hit me. They let the police come and said that they set up for me to go to the bridge shelter. I went to the bridge shelter panicking, and then they wouldn't let me in. They demanded that I catch the bus and didn't give me a transit. And if you get transit,
Have you been to?
well, I would like to communicate and you not to cover for mistreatment because I think if you're going to give me a safety plan, you need to know what I'm up against. So they demanded that I use the bus, like you were trying to have me you get the transit on my own, but transit is provided because it's not safe if you're fleeing abuse. So they want the transit to be controlled, and it's especially not safe for me because my abuser is allowed to control transit using the government. So
Okay,
they
and
know that my abuser wants to continue to control transit. So he enlists all parties to exclude me from the assistance they give for transit. So it's difficult on me. So I can be terrorized trying to get to each location.
what kind of work does your abuser do?
I don't know what he really does for a living.
Government.
I don't know what he really does for a living. He's supposed to be a graphic designer. But clearly he can't be a graphic designer. I don't really know. I'm not getting law enforcement. He's supposed to be a successful graphic designer.
And he has connections with the government because of that?
I wasn't really heard. I said that I don't really think that he does that.
Oh.
I think that may be a front because I don't understand how a graphic designer, and also he had a picture of him flying an airplane.
How long were you together?
I don't want to discuss that. I don't think it's relevant. I'd like to get to a solution.
Okay. Well, like I said, our scope here is we have the Mid-Coast Family Services. That's all I have. I have the Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid. I can give you that number to see if you can get legal advice.
Okay, and you're unwilling to broaden the scope like you said you would do. You changed your mind and you're unwilling to do a set. Just one moment. Once again, are you unwilling to hold? One moment, ma'am. Are you unwilling to hold? This is the second time you've done that. Are you unwilling to hold for a moment?
I'll hold for you. Yes.
Okay. Why would people want to repeatedly withhold state coalitions and organizations that support those affected by domestic violence, advocate for effective policies, collaborate with local service providers? It says you provide training, resources, and guidance to local programs, ensuring survivors have access to the support and services they need. Through public awareness, campaigns, and policy advocacy, state coalitions strive to prevent domestic violence and promote safe communities across the nation. State and territory coalitions.
Correct.
So once again, since I'm calling people that my abuser's controlling, I don't typically get anywhere. And it's just the point of proving it. So I'm looking here, Texas County Council on Family Violence. I'll call them because it's not getting anywhere if everyone's taking bribes, and then you didn't want to broaden the locations, and then wherever you're going to give me is going to be controlled anyway. So I just really don't get anywhere because you're controlled. It's just the point of proving that. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This keeps popping up, being annoying. I don't know what's happening here. It said remove it, but it's not removing.
If you are or have been in an abusive
This is why I call the
relationship and need
police.
assistance or are looking for a
I don't
local
even know
family
what this
violence
is
service
now to let me
provider,
remove it
please
since
call
I'm recording.
1-800. Please leave a message after the tone. When
That
you have
don't call me
finished,
back.
please hang up or press the pound. Library, this is Tanya. May I help you?
Yes, I have a question. You have a class there for the computers?
Yes, we have it on Tuesdays. It's by the Goodwill Services. Give me just a second.
Okay, I have a question. I came in and then she was about to set me up to start the computer class. And then someone interrupted her and said that I needed proof of resident.
Okay, did you come into the actual course or did you come in here just to the front of the library to one of us workers?
I just didn't understand. It felt like it was a scam to exclude me from services because they demanded proof of residency.
We don't do that here at the front desk, but did you go to the lab area where they were doing the Goodwill services?
I think that we need to concentrate on why they needed proof of residency for me to attend this class.
Okay. But what I'm trying to tell you is that at the front desk, we don't ask that. We do ask your address.
Well, I was asking her about the class, and she said that I needed proof of residency, and people scam to keep me from services. And after thinking about it, I don't know why they would need that. And then she was about to call the location I was staying at, Mid-Coast, and then someone interrupted her doing that. But why would she demand proof of residency for me to take a class?
And this was somebody at our front desk?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. No, you don't need proof of registry, proof of residence to take the Goodwill class. No, you don't. Would you like to sign up? Maybe she was probably mistaken.
Well, there's been a lot of people mistaken all over the place. That's why I have a domestic violence crisis. And then another question, I have a domestic violence crisis where people are enlisted to treat me like this. Even down to petty things, even attending that class to be more educated on technology. It's happened years at
Yes,
multiple different locations. In fact, even petty things I can't be involved in.
right.
So I wanted to know if you have any books on women fleeing abuse in a situation, maybe that's government's enlisted in abuse. Do you have any books that I can read up on and get a better understanding of what I need to do to protect myself?
I wonder what that would be under. Domestic violence.
Yeah, from a powerful person that has enlisted the government, maybe like from a police or government official, fleeing abuse from someone like that. I also signed up for something at the Texas Workforce. They won't call me back regarding that. So it's like everywhere that I went, it's prearranged that I don't get any kind of assistance, even petty things. And I'm just trying to prove my experiences to a group of people.
Yes. I'm not seeing anything here at the library about domestic violence on women legal stuff. It would be kind of, I don't know, it's not pulling up anything for me.
Okay, so no, do you have any kind of information on what I can use, any kind of books or maybe to flee abuse that the government's listed? You don't have any kind of resources on domestic violence, period?
Not here in the library.
Yeah, I've noticed that this has been a pattern, and that's pretty bizarre because that's a common topic. And I just could not fathom that, but multiple different libraries have, it's like they were removing books and knowing that nobody would believe my story. Because when because I try to go to libraries and then it's like things are hid. Because I was confused and I was like, why would they not have anything on a woman fleeing abuse? It's just a whole library, multiple. Because I know libraries would not hide books to keep someone from fleeing abuse. But I've experienced this for years that it's like books are being hid. Not only books, but all kind of other things that I know people wouldn't believe. So there's nothing in the whole library on domestic abuse, period.
Yeah, there are some things on domestic violence, but I'm not sure who writes them and if they're legal or they're nonfiction. Here's one called Smart, Successful, and Abused Unspoken Problem of Domestic Violence and High Achieving Women. So we do have a section. It is nonfiction, and it's at 362.82, and there are several books in that area, but I don't know. I don't know anything about the authors or if they're.
I wasn't asking about the authors. I was asking if you had any books on women fleeing abuse, or perhaps maybe from a powerful man in multiple different parties. They play with words, and I don't know how to combat experiences like this repeatedly over and over. If I can't even check out books and peace, that I'm not safe to live in this country. Period.
Well, we have several books, but I don't know if they include everything that you're telling me about because I have not read the books and they don't really give me a.
Well, typically when you go to a library, when you're not targeted, you can tell them what the genre or what your interests are and what you're looking for, and they don't mind telling you, we have a book on this topic. But I've noticed since I've been targeted, everything has changed, and it has to be long, drawn out, and complicated. And then people withhold information from me and then play with their words when they get caught in doing it. And it's really not fair to me or them. But something is keep making them repeatedly keep doing it. So they know places that I frequent, and it's prearranged before I get there to enforce this treatment at all locations that they perceive that I'll go to, and some that even in case I do go, it's still controlled.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
So what are the books?
We don't. Okay. It is. Do you have a pen to write it down?
I do.
When you come in, you can. Okay. All right. They're going to be in the nonfiction section, which is the numbers, the Dewey Decimal, and it's 362.8292. And I see only a handful of books, but there may be more back there. Because it's kind of, a broad subject because there are different types of it and all. But the one that looks good to me is Smart, Successful, and Abused, The Unspoken Problem of Domestic Violence in High Achieving Women. And then one other one is Everything I Never Dreamed, My Life Surviving and Standing Up to Domestic Violence. That's by Ruth Glenn. And she has another one.
There, you don't have any books, period, on omitting government officials.
I have no idea about that. Omitting.
Well, government officials are enlisted, so it's more serious. Not just the average domestic abuse crisis. This is government officials abusing power, conspiring with it. It's a horse of a brand new color. Because they can do like what you did, scam to keep me from even using the computer at multiple different locations. They can enlist libraries to take books off the shelves and hide anything that can help keep a woman from fleeing, knowing that nobody would ever believe the story. So you'd have to prove it repeatedly keeps happening. But I find it highly bizarre that I try to go to libraries and be proactive, and it's like things are missing, and it just didn't make sense. So once again, no, you don't have anything on a person fleeing abuse that's maybe government corruption or anything like that. That someone's flashing badges and guns and keeping parties from allowing someone to flee, even down to you simply having computer knowledge and getting a job.
If you have a title of a specific book, we can look it up that way. But our catalogs are like set up to, if you put a few words in, it pulls those up.
Okay, so you're unwilling now, since I had to reiterate
I'm going to
that
put you on hold a moment.
Since that if government's involved in it, you don't want to tell me. You want me to give you the name of the book?
Ma'am, I'm going to put you on hold. We would have to research that, but I'm going to put you on hold.
Okay.
And
they have to get permission from the police department. There's some places before I started recording, they just call the police. Call us if she wants service, and they come out pushing and shoving at the stew pot. All on camera footage, and repeatedly since then, and now the police department guards the stew pot when I'm present. 2 or 3 police. I don't know what they offer. I kept getting pushed and shoved and violated, trying to know. Just for go walking in, what do you do? Police come and removing me. That's it. They did it at the bridge. So if I can't, have a computer class, they removed me from the computer class at City Square. I tried to pay. They had a computer class. They didn't want me having it, and removed me from the property security. Then they tried to remove me when the Texas Workforce computer kept glitching. They removed me from Austin Street Computer Lab in a scam and banned me from it for being on the FBI page. Then the police came when I was at the library. So they know that this is the kind of personality type that I have, so they have to prearrange with these locations. Then it was strange when I went to the legal library. It was like the things that I needed was hid, and it was difficult. And then when I tried to get assistance, the first time I got assistance, my case manager had brought me there, but she wasn't that highly controlled. So they gave me all these books. I mean, it was gold what she was giving me. And then she said I left to get a number, and my case manager had closed of 4 books that she had opened to the right pages. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Oh, I took pictures of it." And this is the mind games that I experience with people. And I said, "Why would you close the books and do all that?" She said, "I took pictures." I said, "How's it going to benefit me if you're taking pictures?" And then I asked her for the pictures later, and she said her phone glitched and she lost them.
I understand that you are looking for some books. We're having a little bit of trouble locating things. Can I get your name, please?
I wanted to be anonymous. I just didn't know that it was each location I'm at. It's really strenuous and drawn out. Just getting simple knowledge of things. I explained to her I was in a domestic abuse crisis, and a lot of power was abused, and it involved government officials. And I wanted to know if there was any literature that you had that maybe can help me combat the situation of government officials abusing power and corruption and enlisting countless parties to be accomplices to their crimes.
So
Just a simple search of government corruption in our catalog. It's really focusing on like high level. It's not going to get into the intricacies of like local levels.
It is
it's
high
looking at like
level.
the White House, or so like the books that come up are like Trumpocracy, Profiles in Corruption, Abuse of Powers by America's Progressive Elite, High Crimes, the Corruption, Impunity,
Yeah.
and Impeachment
Yeah.
of Donald Trump.
That yes, abuse and the progressive elite. That sounds like something. Can you give me the
Okay.
names a little bit slower? What was that one?
Profiles in Corruption, Abuse of Power by America's Progressive Elite, and it's by Peter Schweizer.
How do you spell the last name, please?
Schweizer.
Okay. And the other books?
So let's see here. High Crimes, the Corruption, Impunity, and Impeachment of Donald Trump, Plague of Corruption, Restoring Faith in the Promise of Science, Justice Corrupted, How the Left Weaponized Our Legal System, Dark Quadrant, Organized Crime, Big Business, and the Corruption of American Democracy, The Watchdog, How the Truman Committee Battled Corruption and Helped Win World War II. Yeah, I think we're kind of getting off track here.
Yeah, I kind of want it, and I've had a lot of difficulty doing searches on my phone and in libraries. That's why I wanted to call and be proactive before I got there. So what I'm actually looking for is a strategy to combat corruption and details on how to combat it, not just education.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. We're not going to our books aren't going to get into that. It's more of just like a profile in these things. It's not a how-to to combat that situation. That's going to, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but you're probably going to have to go down legal avenues to get information on that, or maybe like a law library, because you're looking at like a legal case on how to battle corruption aimed at you, and
there are books. I just don't know. They've been repeatedly hidden.
We don't have them. That's what I'm saying. We don't have them.
Okay.
Like, we're just a public library. We're not going to have that kind of information. A legal library or possibly a university.
When this first started, it wasn't that difficult to get these kind of resources, and they're just missing now. And then what happened, I had some issues and I don't know if I need a bigger library, but something's really bizarre about these libraries.
Well, so I would recommend University of Houston, Victoria, because they do have an academic library. They may have a law section, and so they're going to have a lot more titles pertaining to this type of scenario for you. And if they don't, they may be able to borrow from other university libraries on your behalf that do have those types of books. Every library specializes in different information, especially, public libraries don't go down those types of
well, that's a broad, topic, police corruption and, trying to have accountability. Right. That's something I'm not able to speak, ma'am. I'm not able to speak for multiple different calls. That's a big topic, and it's really bizarre that our libraries are hiding anything that would hold police accountable. Our government officials accountable for crime. You're looking for
avenues to fight, which is legal, and public libraries aren't going to hold that. They're just
they did prior. That's bizarre that big books are being hid for government accountability. But you're saying that public libraries would not want a party to know how to flee abuse that the government's enlisted in. And then before
we don't have the capacity to
and then before she couldn't see the books on domestic violence, I feel like this is not really proper customer service that I repeatedly keep getting.
Be law libraries.
This is evidence that these mind environments are indeed being controlled, and then they have to play the mind games. Okay, ma'am, this is why I don't want to be here. If you can't check out a book in peace, then if I go do the class and it's going to be prearranged nonsense, you would have never told me if you didn't hear it for you. You would never believe me if you would not have heard it for yourself. Never have believed me. But I just knew something was wrong. And then when they get caught in lies, they have to talk over me to not be held accountable. Why? Nothing.